It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.
Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, Tim Moore is a guy you may not have met before. I've known him for a while, though. How are you, Tim?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
We play 16-inch softball together.
We do.
Yeah, it was easy to set up this interview. All right, so you have a job that most Evergreen Park people probably wonder, like, who's the guy that does that? Is it a bunch of different people that do it? It's you. It's one truck. It's street cleaning. Street sweeping. What do you prefer? Street cleaning, street sweeping?
Street sweeping is fine.
Okay. I always remember, like, I grew up in Chicago, and they put up the signs, and you knew they were coming, and then you had to move the cars, and then the guy came along, but I mean, you know, they have so many guys that do it, and they would just come zipping through. I remember when I was a kid, I used to think it was the coolest thing in the world because it's a weird looking truck that does that.
It is different looking. Yeah, kids do.
Yeah.
Kids like it, yeah.
Yeah, they probably come running out and wave. I used to do that. When the guy was coming, I got excited. You know, now I don't think Evergreen puts up signs though, right? Like I've never seen that. Like, don't put your car here.
We don't put up signs, and the big misconception too is like Chicago has cameras on their sweepers. Like if you're parked there, we don't have that, so no one's going to get a ticket for.
Oh, okay.
Being parked there.
So you don't worry if somebody's parked there.
No, I don't.
You're not like, we got to get them off of that block, and you just work around the cars.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that more fun because of the weaving and the ducking and the dodging? Like, do you ever once in a while think to yourself,
on the day, I
like,
guess.
when you're feeling saucy or going up the street thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to come out and I think I can get in that real quick and come back out.
There have
again,
been
right?
times, yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting things a little close. But.
Well, I'm sure you're an expert at it now, though. I mean, like, it handles differently than a car, I would imagine, just because of the shape and the way where the wheels are all set up, right?
It does. It steers from the back, so it's a lot like a forklift.
Okay.
So the front wheels don't turn, the rear wheels do.
So this machine, and you're the guy, you're doing it all the time. So you're moving around, like, so like...
A majority of the time I do. I mean, if I'm not there or something's up.
There's somebody else who might do it.
Yeah.
So how often do you get to a location? Because I can't imagine you're doing every quadrant in a week like garbage is. Like you might get to my block how often? Like what do you think the time frame is in between?
So here on 99th Street, it's every week.
Oh, every week?
Yeah. So we do each quadrant every day of the week.
Okay.
I mean, there are times where things come up that maybe you'll get missed a week, but no one will ever get missed 2 weeks in a row. I mean, unless it's something catastrophic. Other than like during leaf season, then the schedule kind of changes a little bit.
Oh, I'm going to get into that in a second because that's like one of my favorite things that Evergreen does, and I absolutely love the leaf thing. But before I get to that, describe this machine that you're driving along, because I always wondered as a kid with the street cleaners, is it just a brush that's sweeping the dirt around? Is it sucking up garbage? Is it spraying water? Like, what is it actually doing?
So the water comes out, and that just keeps the dust down. The brooms on the side will kick it underneath, and there's a conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt kind of rolls, and the debris and the garbage gets thrown into the hopper in the front. And then there's a main broom, the bigger one you kind of see on the bottom, that kind of just cleans everything up.
It sounds like something in a Dr. Seuss movie.
That's about right. That's about right.
You're like a Who moving through Whoville with that thing. All right, so you're moving along. People don't need to worry about moving their cars. You're able to kind of work around everybody else. You're getting to people. At least you're trying to get there once a week. It'll never go more than 2. Am I getting that right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that's why when people ask how often you come by, I never say I will be here on Tuesday at this time, because...
Do people count on it?
Yeah.
Like, are people taking their garbage and throwing it out there under the curb? I can't imagine that, right?
There's people that will move when they
know you're coming.
Yeah.
They want their curb cleaned.
Correct.
So they're curious about it, but there's not a set day for it.
Yes.
Okay.
So we go the Southwest quadrant is Monday.
Okay.
It's a day after your garbage day, typically.
Oh, okay. So day after garbage day,
Correct.
that's when you're aiming for it.
Right.
But there could be the possibility they don't get you either because of timing, weather. I would imagine, a really busy block, something going on.
Something's going on. Sometimes, there's a car accident I have to go clean up, or something will happen.
Oh, you're cleaning up after car accidents
There's
too.
times. Sure. Yeah. Or, we're doing work somewhere and maybe the street's a little messy and you get called off and you have to go do that. But other than that, it's the day after your garbage day. I know the Southeast quadrant was changed from Monday to Friday, garbage-wise.
Yeah.
But they're still on Tuesdays for me to come by there.
Okay. That's interesting to me. See, that's the thing. I know you're out there. I've seen you go by. I could tell when you're cleaning the street. I had no idea there was a schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is Monday. This is Mondays.
Okay.
Tuesdays is Southeast. Wednesdays would be Northwest, and Thursdays is Northeast. And then Fridays, we take care of all the main, like 95th Street, Kedzie, 99th, 91st.
The big streets.
Correct.
So I see you on Friday.
Yes.
Because I'm in the southwest quadrant, but I get you on Friday because I'm on a main street.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. All right. So let's get to the thing that I've been waiting to ask you about, and that's the leaf pickup because I know it's coming up.
And be here sooner.
I love it. Okay. Listen, I think it's the coolest thing in the world. I get the impression that if I look at the Village newsletter the last couple of years, they continue to try to encourage people to put to pack up the leaves. Like you don't need to throw every leaf into the street.
Right.
I just go out there with the blower and I'm just firing them. Like it's fun for me. And I'm on 99th. So I know you're going to come along and you're going to get mine because you don't want to leave them out there. So mine, I just feel like they're not going to stay out there very, very, very long, and I will stack them up right there on the curb. So is that something that everybody's doing still? Have you seen people start to pack them up more often, or do you just know leaves are going to start falling and I've got a lot of work to do?
Well, in the beginning, when they start falling early in the fall,
yeah.
A lot of people do use their green cans. And then when it just gets, we're just raking out into the curb, and that's where the sweeper schedule will kind of fluctuate a little bit.
And it's a different truck, right? It's got like a hose that comes down?
Right. Yeah. And then, so I will follow them, and then when it gets real heavy, we'll put 2 front end loaders out with dump trucks and just kind of, so there's no real set schedule. Like we'll start an area and we will, until that's done, then we'll move on.
Yeah.
So it's not like, hey, you're supposed to be here Monday. During leaf season, it changes until...
Leaf season is like you're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, we're trying to keep up. Exactly.
There's a lot of trees here. I don't know if you've noticed that.
And it's about 2 weeks of where it gets really bad. And then, so we keep up the best we can.
The kids love it, though.
Yeah, the kids love the leaves.
They jump in the leaves and everything like that.
Fire.
I had to make a rule, especially because we're on 99th, but I had to make a rule. Like, Dad'll keep them on the grass for a while. But when I kick them into the street, do not go out there and jump in to the pile of leaves. Do you get nervous that there could be a kid just hanging out in the leaves as you're going along with the, it feels like something out of Willy Wonka. Do you get a little nervous that there might be one that's decided to go jump in the pile of leaves?
At times, but it's funny you say that. This is probably about 25 years ago. We were picking leaves up with the 2 unloaders in the dump truck. We have a huge pile of leaves in our yard where we dump them. And our boss, Vince Aparo at the time, came running out screaming that a mother was on the phone thinking that her child was scooped up in the back of a dump truck.
Now that does sound like Willy Wonka, like just getting sucked up the tube.
Yeah, it turned out the child was not there, playing in the house somewhere, but yeah, we were out looking through.
You must have been freaked.
We didn't really know what,
yeah.
So that was interesting. Yeah, that was a while ago.
All right,
that's the only real close call we've had with something.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one of the things I used to tell them. I'm like, well, the leaves are fun, play in the leaves, but they do have a machine that comes along and sucks them up, and you don't want to be sucked up in the leaves.
Right.
Little did I know that was something that somebody thought happened to their kid one time. Didn't actually happen, though. So that's a good thing. It didn't actually happen. So you've been doing this for a while, though, right?
I've been with the Village 32 years, and I've probably been driving a sweeper probably close to 20.
Is it the best job in your public works department? Is that why you've been doing it for so long?
A lot of people tell me that.
You're like,
I don't mind it at all.
I'm keeping this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, look, I appreciate you stopping by. You don't get any weird things that get thrown out there with the leaves, do you? I imagine you get somebody who tries to throw extra stuff in there that's not leaves.
At the leaves, sometimes there's, there'll be garbage or concrete or something like that in there. But no, I mean, nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy in there. All right. So a set schedule.
Yep.
You're hitting them generally the day after garbage.
Correct.
You're hitting the busy streets on Fridays.
Right.
Don't let your kids play in the leaves in the street.
Don't do that. Keep an eye on them.
And Tim Moore may have the coolest job in Evergreen Park Public Works. That's awesome. Tim, thanks so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.